All right, so today I'm going to be teaching you how to tan a rabbit hide. And in the last two videos, I already taught you how to hunt a rabbit and how to skin a rabbit. And now you should have this pelt right here. I'll just get right into it and tell you all the steps. So the first step is to put salt all over this pelt. And putting salt over the pelt is really going to help dry it out. And this step basically removes the need of a fleshing knife, and it just dries it up and gets all of the bacteria and just the flesh off of it. So once you are done with this, it should probably sit for about a day, and afterwards it should come out looking like this. You should see some red parts. More of it should be exposed because some of that salt should have seeped into the pelt itself and made it more stiff and taken out a lot of that bacteria. So that is the first step. And the next step after that is to break this all off, of course. So you have to break off all that salt. And this process honestly takes a long time. It probably took me about an hour to get off all that salt and try to scrape off all that salt without it looking bad or without me hurting the pelt. Because I just used a lot of salt and maybe even more than I needed to. But it just took a while, but your pellet should look something like this after you're done. And then the next step after that is to use an egg wash. So for this egg spread, basically, you need egg yolks, not egg whites, just egg yolks. And usually, I would say for most rabbits, you can get by with 1 to 2 egg yolks, because basically you need enough just to put it on this top layer for your rabbit. And that should be good overall, honestly. As long as you can't really see any of this and make sure it's not on any of the fur, your egg layer is probably thick enough. And then you can cover it with a towel for better absorption. I would let that sit for 1 to 2 days. The main goal of that is to make sure that there's not really any egg left and that it was all absorbed. But I kind of went close to the skin here, and I probably should have left it a little longer. That's why mine doesn't look quite as good. But if you keep going on from that after that, the next thing to do after those 2 days are up and it looks like that is just to get all the egg wash off. I use just a normal towel at first to scrub off all of that egg. But after that, there's still some you can't get off, or you just need it to look better overall because they're just loose hairs, and you just want to make it clean overall because you haven't washed the pellet yet. I would definitely recommend putting it in a tub like this and just doing a little bit of soapy water. Make sure you can see the suds. Dawn soap is very good. It's very gentle, and I'd recommend that as well. But after that is all done, you are going to need to, of course, dry it. And drying it takes a long time as well. I just had it sit in a spot in our basement, so that probably wasn't the best idea because it wasn't had much sunlight that it could use to dry off quickly. But it probably took me just in a normal room 3 days to dry off. And then you can use like a hair dryer to make the fur more puffy, but I'd recommend doing this when it's less wet. And I kind of did it when it was more wet and it didn't work out quite like I was hoping it to. But after it dries, there is one more step, and that is just to apply some oil. So this is neat's foot oil, and it's specially made just to make your pelt more stretchy and bendable after all the time that you've used that salt and all that stuff to make it stiffer. And after you apply that, that can take a long time to soak in as well, maybe 3 days. So this process will take about a week or maybe even longer if you want it perfect. But the end result of your pelt should come out to looking something like this because neat foot oil don't change the look of it. And all these black spots right here is just a result of me doing a bad job while trying to skin it, because that means that I cut too deep and that I went into the pelt itself. But all the imperfections of this pelt is just from a bad skinning job, and you can just fix this instead by doing a better skinning job, and your pelt should look out pretty darn good if you do all the steps right. And that is the last video in the series, and I hope it helped. Have a great day.